Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Aurorum Kingmaker Session 5. So, just to cover one thing really quickly from the comment beforehand, because I know there was a question about attack of opportunity pertaining to a potion. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong that attack of opportunity wouldn't be provoked, and I am right as to why swarms don't make attacks of opportunity. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure there's a reason why this wouldn't happen. And I was like, it made sense in my mind. But swarms don't make attacks of opportunity. So if there was a individual creature or something like that was nearby.
I feel like we mentioned that at the start.
Yeah. We did say something about it beforehand, but, in the middle of combat, you're just so hype. So, anyways, and combat ends, you have the blender happening. Everybody else jumps in. They start, jumping out. Everybody comes out and starts doing it. Unfortunately, the two people that were originally caught in the swarm, when Kithel went to go aid them, I didn't describe it beforehand because I didn't want to make it too gruesome at the moment, but they were also caught in the swarm when Kithel got caught in it the second swarm that came around. So there were, unfortunately, 2 casualties that happened from the onslaught. But overall, considering the fact that there was that many beasts that came this way, you guys were able to stave them off, destroy them, and only 2 casualties along the way, including Kithel not dying. That's actually pretty awesome. I think you guys did a pretty good job. As for our little friend over there that has -3 health points and only temp HP, I just wanted to boop that for you really quickly. And so you actually heal 6 health points, putting you back at 3.
Oh, thank you.
And one more time, just a quick little boop, because he has 2 of those a day.
I'm not the only one that needs healing. There's another person.
Oh, who's the other messed up one?
Me.
He should.
Oh yeah, then you would get that. You would get that one. My apologies.
Yeah.
Sweet. How much is it?
10.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I'm back to full.
Yeah. You take that one.
I didn't see the represented change on your token. Did you?
Yeah, I was noticing that.
Did you change your?
I would. Yeah, in the bit that says like current, I put down to 1.
Really? That's weird that it didn't represent on your token on the map, but that doesn't matter. So let me just double check that. Is it linked to 1? It is linked to 1. I don't know why. Oh, haha. I no. I know why. It's because
it's the wrong health. You've put the wrong amount of health in there.
No, it's literally the fact that it wasn't linked to health. It was just 10 out of 10, as opposed to being linked to the health bar. Now, if you adjust it, it'll adjust. That's why. Cool.
But wait, how much health do you have?
I'm full now.
Yeah, but you don't have. I thought you had 8.
No, I had 1 HP.
No, 8 total.
Oh no, I have 10.
Oh, okay, I got that wrong then.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Everyone's
perfect.
got more health than me.
Of course, you're the sorcerer. Be happy you have that much, and you're not dead. So so you guys are standing around. Everybody kind of jumps in and takes over, and the mood changes from the quick celebration that everybody was doing beforehand, from getting the wagons out, to everybody just kind of handling the combat and the fear, and then there's not even a cheer here, as 2 casualties, while of course very, very sad, because it's not like it's a large group of people. In this time, in this place, 2 casualties is kind of normal enough that they wouldn't be too downtrodden from it. Unfortunately, they've already lost so many in the past day that everybody here is just sullen. You know what I mean? They bust out shovels, and they immediately within the circle.
Everyone except 1. He is super happy. He's walking around laughing and cheering and spinning his axe around.
I did mean the NPCs, so
put that out there.
no. I did mean the NPCs, but I could totally see, Rayrin also laughing, pointing at corpses and being like, ha ha. So,
the people that died, was one of them that guy that was the drunk?
No, neither of them. Yeah. No. No, he was underneath the wagon, far away from the combat, holding on to all of his alcohol and sipping it down. So.
I would help with my feeble arms. I would help bury the bodies as well.
One makes his way over to the old guy and he's trying to wrestle some like a wine skin or something from him.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So you go over there, you try to wrestle it away. He doesn't put up a fight. He just, he saw what you just did to that swarm. He's not going to argue with you. You know what I mean? So you take the wine skin, you sit down, you realize, oh, geez, something stabbed you in your trousers. You pull it out, and oh, there's a leg. Throw it to the side. And the night kind of goes on without too much incidents. You know, I don't know if you guys were intending to crash the night here, or if you wanted to head back into the keep. I'm not sure what your plan was here, but you'd spent the entire day getting the wagons unstuck from within the bramble bushes.
Man, we've just defended this area.
Yeah, I
so-
see no reason not to crash here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go and just while they're digging graves or whatever. After I finish cheering, I'd go and just go to sleep on one of the carriages.
Sure. So you guys finished doing, you know, all rejoicing, you're repacking, you know, you're studying, so on and so forth. After you're done doing all of that, you can just go and, like you said, join into the carriages. Neil, I don't know if you ever looked at the list of scrolls that you guys have gathered along the way as to whether or not any of those are on the Magus' spell list, as to whether or not you could add them into your book. It's one of those things to kind of bear in
I
mind.
can add from scrolls into my book.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. So you just have
As long
to...
as, they're on your spells.
Correct.
Excuse me while I disappear into my books.
There you go. Beautiful. So you guys spend the night. Nobody, like, you guys, of course, will have one degree or another. I don't know if it's one of you, all of you, whatever it is. I'm sure you're participating in the night watch, but it's not like everybody is going to expect you all to do it. Like, they're also chipping in. You kind of just saved their asses, so they're on your side. Darn it. I cussed. Steve, you get 100 daddies. I'll be coming your way shortly.
No, actually, no. Steve has been helpful recently. I was going to say no, not Steve, but no, that's okay.
So while you guys are doing this resting, the next morning when breakfast is put together, the Phil himself was gonna, you know, as you guys are eating breakfast and getting prepared to go back into the keep, he plops himself down and he's like, "So, obviously you're gonna be taking," and he looks over at Kithel, "him with you when you go in, since that's how you got to us. But, you nervous? What's the plan?"
We're not really sure what to expect in there, if I'm honest. We have an inkling that there's something bad. But we're not exactly sure what.
Oh, well, I don't know. Listen, he gestures towards, like, the torn up grounds, the fact that it looks like tilled soil, the scratched up wagons, the fact that the wagons are together, all of them have wheels on them, like, just more or less takes in the scene for a second. He's like, "Listen, takes in the scene for a second, very obviously, and says, I can't express enough gratitude for what it was that you've done for us. You didn't have to come here, and you did. You came out of your way. You risked your lives time and time again, and you helped us. So I went through the supplies. It's one thing to say thank you. It's another thing to show the gratitude. I can't give you everything, because we do still have to feed what families we have left, but here, we did get together some more stuff for you to take with you. I hope this keeps you on your feet. I hope this keeps you doing well as you venture in there." And so he gives you guys a load of more potions, a couple more scrolls, and something else as well.
Here we go again.
Before I go into that list, I'm going to say, did you guys, that anybody that still had health points missing from last night, don't forget you healed 1 health point overnight. Okay.
Yep.
Does anybody have the heal? Did anybody have the heal skill and want to try to utilize that, or?
No.
I wish I did. No.
Yeah. Kithel does actually. He can try. You know, I guess
I have a rank in it, but I have a +3.
He has a +4, so you could give him a +2.
Yeah.
He says, "I guess I can try and mend your wounds for you." You know, sort of a thing. And who actually is missing health still? Okay, you two.
How much are you missing, actually? Because I did get a heal already.
I can do it to both of you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so this is just going to be, do you heal 2 health points or 1 overnight? You know what I mean? Whoever I healed second, so let's assume it was the more injured person first. So that was probably Tesh first and Neil second. So Neil, you would heal an additional health point overnight. That's all. Okay?
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. As for what you guys collect, as he opens up the pack and shows you what he has, he's a scroll case. He opens up, and inside that scroll case, there are 5 scrolls. A scroll of Tensor's floating disc. You guys know what that is. I believe you know what that is. Does that exist in 5e? I think it does.
I think it does.
A scroll of Desecrate, which is one of those ones where when he hands it over, you can see he's a little red in the face that he has it, but he hands over a scroll of Desecrate. He hands over 2 scrolls of Cure Light Wounds. And the last one, he says, "'Cause you never know, but be careful." He hands over another scroll of Fireball.
Oh. Can you get that on your list? Because if so, we're saving that so you get that.
Yeah, it will be on my list, won't it?
At higher levels, it's on your list, right? As mages. For potions.
What level is it?
3rd.
Level 3.
Yeah, usually 3rd. I don't know what it is for
Yeah,
mages.
Fireball.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, potions, cure moderate wounds, pass without trace, magic weapon, lesser restoration, and invisibility. And the last thing he does is he pulls out from all the stuff that he has there. He has this like kind of like leather flaps, like these like bits of leather flapped over itself, kind of like holding a parcel. And when he unfolds like the 4 folds to that, you can see there's something bundled up inside a little bit of almost like a rucksack or like burlap. And so when he like unfurls that one, you can see once again wrapped up with little bits of like paper around each individual bit. You see a 3 metal hollow tubes that are all strung together onto a thin string that you think is made out of chain with a wooden kind of like base at the top. Almost looks like wind chimes. Opens that up and you can, it kind of pulls that off. And sitting next to it is a very ornate looking, almost looks like a drummer's like drumstick, but made out of this very strange looking wood to you guys, like a color and a grain that doesn't look familiar to any of you, that has a little bit of marking on it. And so with this little thing, he holds up the chimes, and so they're kind of like dinging just a little bit as they go there. And he holds up the stick, and he's like, "With this here, if you tap the chime, and you do it the right way, which, let's be honest, you won't always succeed. Sometimes you make mistakes. But if you tap it the right way, there's almost no closure that'll remain shut before you." He gives you a chime of opening.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure these will come in very handy.
I certainly hope so. I mean, maybe it can make you finish whatever it is here, because you saved our lives in the morning, and then again you saved them from the evening. But who's to say we're not going to be in danger again today? And I certainly don't think we're going to be able to leave until whatever's happening here is ended. So I wish you the best. Is there anything else that I can do for you aside from providing you this delicious meal?
Do your best to survive. Other than that, I think we probably should say farewells for now.
Yep. Ta-ta for now. Ta-ta for now indeed. I wish you the best. Don't die. And turns and like walks back towards the other people. Unless there's anything else you guys are looking to do, you gather your things and you start heading out towards the keep again.
One would go over to them what's the guy's name?
Phil?
Phil. As he goes back to the other people, one would kind of walk over there. And he'd say, "Phil."
Turns back. Yeah.
And I say, "Did you see when the battle was almost lost?"
Oh my god.
And I asked the Brogar for power. He saved you, he saved us, and more or less, I'm just gonna be like, you should pray to Vroga daily, and if he has like a certain thing that that he's supposed to do every day, one just tells him to do that, and then he just says, "Do these things, and he will protect you."
Do you have any like holy symbols apparent on you?
I have my iron holy symbol thing.
Okay, then he just gestures at that and says, I don't have anything like that right there.
One kind of just takes it out and gives it to him. Says, "Take this."
Okay. And he takes it and says, all right, it doesn't hurt to try. I've prayed to other gods and I've had a successful life so far. Perhaps it's time I find one that is better suited for this situation. He nods and says, thanks.
Yeah, I turn and walk off back to the crew.
Just looking around. We are going to have to do something about this. Eventually, at least.
Listen, he's just trying to make sure that in the future, if you guys come across this caravan guy, that if he happens to stumble across an artifact of Rogar, that he's like, oh, look what I found. All right. So, anyways, you guys are head out with Kithel, and head back towards the keep. Same as beforehand. The plants and whatnot seem to drop underneath the topsoil as you walk forward and pop from the topsoil behind you as you pass. And you're able to make your way all the way back to the keep. When you get back to the keep, there is a front door you could certainly try to go into if you would like. But there is also the rope that's dangling down, and you can try to backtrack up the way that you had set for yourself beforehand.
That's an interesting recipe for disaster. But it also means we're not getting that rope back unless we do that. I will also say that I will give the potion of magic weapon to one because, yes.
It's technically not a potion, it's technically an oil, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah. And then we'll discuss more about which goes where, unless we have to use them. But so we try to open the front door. Shall we go in this way this time? He said he encountered some traps. Maybe he deactivated them for us. Oh, Kithel's right here. What traps did you discover?
I'm fairly certain he said that he merely avoided the traps, not deactivated them.
In that case, he can show us where they are.
No, you're misremembering what it was that I had said. The entire ground seems to be a bit of a snare or trap, and they didn't seem to attack me. When I first went into the keep, however, then that's where I engaged traps like you would typically find inside of goblin lands.
Okay, so...
I broke those ones.
See, there we go. It's clear to go in this way.
Very well.
I ain't going first. I opened my door already. It's your turn.
I believe it's your idea to head in this way, Valrin.
I opened my door. It's someone else's turn now.
What I can tell you is this. When I first got into the keep, I explored the entirety of the first floor.
Excuse me.
The entirety of the first floor. And I began to explore the second floor when I encountered,
And he gestures towards, who was it, Tesh? And says,
when I encountered you, I did find the entrance to the cellar, but I did not go down there. And I did not finish exploring the second floor because, well, you were involved in that conversation.
In that case, I think we should head up to the second floor and at least finish exploring that. Then.
Very well. Let's go. Raren would take the lead. He would check for traps because Kissel says he's dealt with them, but do we really trust?
I can try and keep an eye out for some. Oh, we can help our perceptive boy sift for traps.
Good.
Could sift for traps. Or you close your eyes and start stomping your feet and walking forward erratically and seeing what happens.
I just, it's fine. I'll just check for traps. It's fine.
I have to tangent for a second. Did any of you guys ever play in a party before of questionable morality, where every adventure you'd go on, you would hire just a random henchman, and she'd be like, "Hey, just like walk ahead of us," and then, like if they died, it didn't matter because you would just hire another henchman.
No.
You never did that.
I did when the DM controlled him, and he like refused all the time.
Oh no! You would hire like an idiot, like a complete idiot. You'd overpay them; they wouldn't realize what was going on, and you'd send them in because you're like, we don't got a rogue in the party. So, at least if the first trap is triggered by him, we know there's traps. You know.
I did see a situation where, if anyone knows of Critical Role, Laura Bailey and Travis William, who are married, Laura's character had a pet bear. Travis's character hit it on the butt and sent it running straight through all the traps. He slept on the couch that night.
Yep. Yep. There you go. Or summon creatures is another one too. But all right, moving on. So you guys go down into. So you go in there, and you said you want to explore the second floor. Is that what the plan was, Tesh?
Yes, go to the second floor where we were and then start exploring there.
Okay.
Carefully.
Sure. So you get up to the second floor. The stairs themselves are still holding very well together. Everything's holding very well together. So there's no real concerns there. The thing that you do notice is, actually, my apologies, roll me a perception check, everybody.
Yep. I'm just realizing that I accidentally did that in session 0. I hired a guy to die to the thing before it killed me. And then I took my money back.
Oh, that's so funny. You did.
I didn't mean to do it, but I definitely did it.
Oh, you're a terrible person. So Rayward is kind of absorbed with the architecture of the place because he actually understands the architecture well enough from what we had seen in your own personal session 0. Oh, excuse me. Keep you out. I haven't had coffee yet today. So
sort your shit out, Scott.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll get it during the next break. So I'll have to microwave some. No, I'll make a fresh pot, and then while we're live, I'll go back and forth and get it. So anyways, you're kind of distracted looking about at the architecture and actually seeing like that same kind of iron inlaid into the stone that we had talked about beforehand and blah blah blah. But the other two, what you notice is this: you hear little noises about here and there, scratches, about almost feels like a whisper, but more than that. It almost feels ominous. It's like you knew beforehand about the small creatures, the creeping kind of chaos or doom or whatever it was that turned out to be the little twig-like plant creatures that exist in here. You knew about that beforehand. However, now it just feels different. They seem like they're malicious in nature, but now it seems directly bent towards you guys, and you can almost feel that pulsing anger. Luckily, Raven's a little ignorant to it, but the other two can feel it. They can feel it in their soul. So anyways, as you're walking up the stairs, you're still in great condition and easily able to climb and so on and so forth, and the sun's kind of beating down here and there. You get to the landing up above. You know that if you take it right at the top of the landing, it's going to bring you to the door where you guys initially came from and all of the areas that Kithel was exploring beforehand. And then there's the areas to the left where you can go and start exploring. And then kind of it does bridge. It does make a rectangle up top. It's not like if you go one way, you're stuck that way and you have to go back, right? So it does make a rectangle. So you guys start going about and searching into all of the different rooms. The doors in here are, of course, weathered, beaten down, etc., etc., etc. But it's still... they're still held together fairly well because they're mostly removed from nature. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like... Well, looting definitely happens, but not every door is broken into. You know what I mean? So you guys start making around, checking out the doors. What I'm going to need from you, Jake, is 3 sifts as you're checking the 3 different doors, and then we'll narrate from there.
Alright, so -5 on all of them.
Yep.
1, 2, and 3.
Nice.
Some good rolls. 15, 12, 15. So as you're making your way at these different doors, you do notice that the first two doors don't have any traps or anything like that, and you guys feel comfortable. One of them's kind of wedged shut because of like swelling of the door, but grabbing the handle and kind of like a good shoulder pops it open. No issues whatsoever. Looking inside these places, you see nothing of value. You do see bits of twig here and there. You do see tattering. In the second room, you do actually see vines that look suspicious. Like, do we explore this room all the way in? Or, it looks empty. The room looks empty. Maybe we shouldn't go all the way in. You can make that decision in a minute. Then you go back over to the third room. The third room itself, the door is shut. The door seems locked. And you do actually have a trap set on the door.
Oh.
The trap set on the door, you can see, because this is fairly rudimentary stuff. It's actually using a type of technology that is more custom to the sill than it was to the parent, not the parent, sorry, the mull. It's more accustomed to the sill. What sill like to do is they like to harness natural, again, like elemental energy and utilize that as like a power source. So you actually see on the other side of the door, you can kind of feel the trap that you recognize is there. It's just almost like a battery pack, whirring and with energy on the other side. And it's connected to this door that anybody who chooses to grab the handle without doing things the right way is going to feel whatever's charged up in that battery. You don't know if it's still charged or not, but you know the trap is there.
There's a trap on this door.
Sorry.
We should definitely not open it. Maybe, I don't know. It's got something to do with the door, the way you open it. I'm not sure how to open it, but I can just see that it's there.
How is this door open?
Well,
Is it like
Handle.
yeah?
I have a bit of knowledge about the sill. Can I try and look at it and see if I can figure out how it's supposed to be opened?
I suppose I could describe it to you, but you wouldn't be able to see it.
Because the battery pack's on the other side of the door. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going to describe it to you. Why don't you make me an Arcana check?
Where are you, Arcana? I'm looking up and down. And
Knowledge
Arcana?
Arcana.
Okay, yeah, I was like, that's why I can't find it.
So he's describing the pack to you the best he can, so on and so forth. One of the things that you do know is that these things that, so long as they maintain a certain charge, they have the ability to continue building on their own charge. They can effectively recharge themselves. So it's very likely that it is still an armed trap. It's very likely. Okay. As for how to circumvent it, you have no idea how it is that you're supposed to open this door without a disable device check or something like that.
I will relay that information then. So it is quite likely armed and quite likely fully charged.
I wonder what happens if we shoot the handle with a crossbow.
Why don't we all stand back, say 30 feet? I'll use a spell to twist the handle.
Sounds good.
Do I think that would work?
Well, depends on what do you mean by use a spell to twist the handle.
Mage hand.
Mage hand might twist the handle, but probably doesn't have enough force to push the door open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with the way this trap is designed, is it designed so that when someone grabs the handle, it completes the circuit essentially? Okay. So mage hand wouldn't work. I would relay that mage hand wouldn't work. We need some way to complete the circuit so the charge gets dissipated through the handle. What do I have for my
Should have just bought that old drunk from Kingham.
Jeez. So now you want to hire your henchman?
Wait. The other guy's rock, isn't he?
He is comprised out of stone. That doesn't necessarily mean he's immune to electricity.
Okay, noted. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. We don't have any. We need a way to ground it. Basically, is what we need to do.
Yes
need-
and no. By touching it, we would be grounding ourselves. However, it's the passage of the energy through us that deals the damage.
Yes, what I'm meaning is we could. Well, we don't have the chain. We don't have the cuffs anymore. We need something that we can carefully from from your mage hand, perhaps, drop it onto the door handle so that it connects it to something like the ground or the structure.
How
Is there
high?
What if I just
Around here?
How high is the door handle?
Typical height. So you're talking like what's that off the ground? 3 feet or so.
Is the door metal?
The door itself is made out of like metal wrapped, hard, wood, quality wood, same as most of them have been.
There's no sort of place I'd be able to connect it to on the door that might short it. Is there?
A place that you may be able to short the, not from this side. Obviously your idea of like feeding the current to elsewhere might not be a bad idea.
Raren's just going to draw the longsword and place it next to the door and then begin moving away from the door to about the 25-foot mark and turn around and say, everyone might want to get clear.
Okay.
I'm going to move well back.
So about 25 feet away, and he's just going to move the longsword so that the pommel is touching the handle and the blade touches the floor.
Okay. So I thought you were clicking mage hand. You don't have to though. You're clicking mage
No,
hand.
I'm clicking it now.
No,
You
no,
guys
no,
want-
it's
you
fine.
go-
It's fine.
go
I
back.
thought you were just following typical SOP, but that's fine. It's fine. So you all of a sudden the thing goes over, and you see the sword kind of like lean up ever so slightly, moves over slowly, and as soon as it connects to the handle, you can see the current running through the blade and whatnot. And as soon as the current kind of like, because it's gonna happen so fast, you see it like cling on, like vibrating for like 2 seconds, and the sword ends up like flying across the way as the current finishes snapping off. Just there's so much energy into it. The sword ends up flying across the hallway and stabs into a door on the other side. And so it's literally across the hallway. You have to go and get it.
Well, that worked well.
Yes, we should probably make sure that that's all of the charge, though, just in case.
Raren would go and get the sword.
Okay, so you go over and you're gonna grab the sword, and it takes. I wish I had muscles like someone, and eventually pull the sword out. But one, do you go and check the trap one more time?
Yeah, I will.
Go right ahead.
Ooh.
Okay.
-5.
Perfect. And so when you go over and you grab the sword and you end up taking the sword out of the wall over there, one of the things that you know out of the door that's over there, one of the things that you notice is you can feel the sword is still vibrating, like because the sword itself has like a wrapped handle. You're not touching the metal, right? You grab the wrapped like leather handle. You probably also have like a leather glove on. You can feel the sword is kind of vibrating. One of the things where you're just like, I don't want to touch this.
Yeah, it's like it's glowing. It's like that orange glow to it.
But there's nothing so ostentatious as a glow. Like you didn't know until you'd already pulled it out of the door and you were holding it still that you can like feel it ever so slightly vibrating in your hands. On the other side over there, one, you can see that the battery seems drained, or at least enough so that the door is not going to give you any shocks. You grab the handle.
Nope. I look back and I say, it seems that the charge has been expended at least enough.
Yes, it would appear that it's expended itself into the sword, at a somewhat permanent residence. Raren's gonna adjust the sheath. He was sheathing it on his back because it was out the way, and he had no intention of drawing it. He does not wish to accidentally touch his neck on it, so he keeps it at his hip.
It's one of those funny things where you put it at your hip and like you can feel your shirt like static clinging over towards it, like being like pulled towards it. You're like, it's like this weird like sometimes when you sit down, your pants bunches up in like the wrong looking way. It's like this funky like jutting of your clothes over by it. But anyways, so the sword is at your side and you hold your arm strangely like over and away from it so you don't accidentally grab at it or anything.
Yeah, he'd probably have gloved hand on the pommel.
Yeah. And
make sure, yeah.
And so you guys make your way back over to the door.
Can I like? Would I know if I think it's complete, or can I make a roll to see if I think it's definitely done? Because if I think it's done, I'm going to open it.
You're not going to be able to tell without seeing the battery itself or another test or something.
The energy is clearly in the sword, Valorant. Just open it.
No.
You guys are so mean to poor Tesh.
I have an idea though.
Neil's like, I can't wait to play the campaign with Tesh. Was that Neil? Yeah, Neil. I can't wait to play so I can be mean to him. Is Arvine going to do the same thing to you this Saturday? On the Star Wars campaign?
Oh no.
He's like, hey, I'm so glad you're here. No, touch all the doors.
I mean, if Valorant didn't open it, Rayrin would get impatient and reach forward with his gloved hand and open it.
Okay.
You grab
I
it.
would be examining it for a bit before I decided. So yeah.
You grab it with your gloved hand, and it shocks you. But just like a harsh, like kind of like a nasty static shock, one of the ones that gets you like right into your fingernail, and it's like, ah! And you feel it for like another 45 seconds, like one of those. Like, and that's right through your glove, you get it. But the door handle does turn, and you push open the door. What you see on the other side is a room that, while aged and tattered and beaten and whatnot, has not completely aged as much as the rest of the rooms around it. In the room in here, there is a table in the center. It's circular and on that table there seems to be a bit of a map that exists there. Taking in the sights that look familiar to all of you, and even a person that looks familiar to one of you. You guys walk in.
Hello again.
And he sees you, and he's like, as you kind of walk in, he looks at you for a moment, and kind of like reading your face, like remembering who you are or whatever, and says, you've made it. You've returned. How has your journey been going thus far?
Well, thank you for the heads up with the eagle. That actually became quite handy. And dangerous, but quite handy.
We can't see or hear this dude, can we?
Cannot.
Rayrin would walk just through, presumably where he is, to start checking the room.
You would see Rarrell just like stop talking and wait for him to reform. He does like that dissipation and then reforms again.
Yep.
So it takes him a little bit to reform. Could you not do that?
What?
Oh. Yeah, like sword through the... What? Oh. Yes. That guy.
Anyway, so we are at a keep that appears to have vines and plant life growing in extreme around it, to the point where it is extremely dangerous. And at night there appear to be small wooden creatures that attack. Do you have any idea what they are?
Yes, I do. You are the keep. The curse here is a unique one. It has done amazing things for the land in the past, but when the curse was altered, it has done terrible things for the land in the present.
Now, just a second. Did you say when the curse was altered?
Perhaps I'm using the wrong words. There were enchantments that were always on this land. Enchantments that made it fertile. Enchantments that made it so those that lived here for as long as they did succeeded in the tasks that they had set before themselves. Technically, what the curse is the enchantments being turned on their head.
That actually explains a lot. How do we break the curse at this keep? Sorry, I will inform you guys afterwards. Just give me a second. Like turns to the others, realizing that he's having this entire one-sided conversation for them.
The tree must be cut down and burns to the root. It is the tree that both feeds and gives life. Again, it is just altered from what it was before. A shadow of what it was before. You must cut it down, and you must destroy it to the root. Every bit of it. Same as before. You must do 3 at the same time, or 5 within a month span.
So is I assume this tree is located near the keep, or is it somewhere in the keep? Is it like how will we know this tree from the others?
It is within the foundation of the keep.
So from the outside, did it look like there was a tree growing up through the thing? So it's in the basement. Okay. No. Thank you. Do you have any advice for how to do this, or do we just do the old-fashioned way with fire?
Swords and fire tend to do best against wood. Well, not always. Swords and fire tend to do best against wood of considerable size. If you're talking about the wood that you'd find in little swarms, I imagine it's a little bit different how it works, but
Do you have any more that you can tell us about this keep? Maybe any more caches or any advice?
Well, I can tell you that in this keep, the way that the curse was altered, again, it made the lands fertile. The biggest forest in all of Idir was grown from this keep, and the magics here. If you destroy the curse, it will, of course, allow nature to take its course and run normally, which is why, it existed in the first place. But the curse brought to life those plants and gave them a malicious purpose. I imagine that you've come across roots that seem to grab and vines that seem to choke and twigs that seem to poke as you are making your way to the keep and throughout it. But it is important to note that the reason why the tree grows in the basement is, well, light is not good for this tree. Sunlight is the opposite since the curse has happened than it was before. It burns the bark. It boils it away, and in some cases may even set it ablaze.
Interesting. Are there any mirrors in this keep?
Mirrors. Mirrors. If there are, perhaps in rooms long since shattered. You know how poorly this place was.
Yeah. But if I can find some, I have an idea. If you have anything else, just that may be of help, I appreciate it. If not, I think we better get to work before the sun gets low at all, or before you have any risk of daylight running out.
I cannot think of anything else that's I just think that you need to be careful. It is a thick tree. It's an old tree, older than the curse. The tree was planted in the earlier phases of this nation, or the nation that was here before.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm just going to discuss if you could stay here in case my friends have any questions. And I would turn to them and relay as much, almost word for word, or as close to word for word as he can get, what he told me about the keep, about the curse, about the tree and the effect of the lands, and that it is quite likely behind the vines and the plants acting the way they are.
Rarin's definitely been talking to one about the battle, and like you start talking, he's like, "Oh, okay."
So there's a tree in the basement that sunlight will likely harm, and we need to destroy this tree to its roots to break the curse here. And it is quite likely we will need to do that before it is easy to leave this area. Oh, and then I'll turn to our new friend, Cthulhu, and be like, so this is going to be a little weird. There is a remnant of the civilization, or part of either the civilization or the person who helped bring it to its end. He is at the different keeps here, and I can commune with him. I can talk with him, and he helps. He has so far helped us in figuring out how to fix the issues that are in these keeps, the lands around them, that sort of thing.
I saw you speaking to nothing. I just assumed you were a little disturbed after the combat we were in last night.
He doesn't explain it very well. He's more akin to a prophet. He sees things that once were, and he sees things that may yet be. It's much simpler when you put it that way, rather than talking about
That actually is much
people.
simpler, yes.
Ah, I
That actually
understand.
does make more sense. He like notes to himself like that's a much easier way of saying it.
You're a bit of a seer of sorts.
Exactly.
sorts, yeah.
Yes.
Very well then. I did hear what is you described to the other two. It is important that you are successful in what it is you're trying to do. I don't think I'm going to be of any assistance down there.
Is there a specific reason for that, or is it just an area that, like, is it the foundation, or?
I am not exactly trained in combat.
Oh, right.
And I walk around with a quarterstaff, which isn't exactly good at cutting down trees or digging up roots. I know I have a bit of magic at my beck and call for my own reasons, but none of them are things that can create fire or cause any form of pain or suffering.
Perhaps.
That is... Sorry, go on.
Perhaps you could assist us in another way then. If you were to stay in this room and perhaps make it more fortifiable, as well as learning how to operate the door trap, I'm given to believe from what my friend here, he motions towards Valren, what my friend here has said, that the trap will recharge, and should things go ill, it would be nice to have a place to retreat to. If that is, you're willing to stay around and assist.
Very well. I am, of course, willing to assist. I have healing that I can offer to you, and it's back in my possession in case you needed it.
Now, I don't suppose any of you have any mirrors on you. I have the one silver mirror, but if we can find any more mirrors in this place, sunlight is apparently rather bad for this tree. In fact, it may set it ablaze. So one method, or maybe to redirect some sunlight down to there, and we can angle it onto the tree. Another method may be simply to, looking at one, make a hole for the sunlight to come through.
It's an option.
Is indirect.
It is stone though.
Yes, it would not be easy. That's why I thought of the mirrors first.
I feel like we need a lot of mirrors.
It depends on where it is and where we can angle the sun. We may only need two if it's in the right place, but I would need to look at the area.
Do you want to ask your friend if there is any hidden caches in this room like there was the last?
I think I asked that already, didn't I?
Did you?
You asked if there was
didn't
anything else, and
answer
he
that.
said no, but you didn't explicitly say hidden cache in this room.
Oh, okay, then I would turn back to him and say, my friend wishes to know if there's any hidden caches in this room like there were in the last one.
Unfortunately, not any longer. There was long ago, but at some point, looters have come by and
he kind of like gestures with his like walking stick there. The open little hatch where a spot would have been, similar to the table prior.
Okay.
They've taken the supplies.
Well, thank you. I'll turn to one. Unfortunately, unlike the other keep, this one has been looted. I'm going to point to the open hall.
It's a shame they didn't disable the trap on the door.
No, it's. I imagine someone in their group got a nasty shock, but the rest of them seem to make it. He didn't intend that to be like a joke as well, so if you laugh, he's like confused, and then he just continues talking. Either way, I would suggest we finish searching this place to make sure it is clear before we head down.
Yes. Just want to conduct a quick experiment out of interest. Rome would draw the short sword and then draw the long sword and touch the points, keeping a firm grip on them both.
Okay. So you draw the two swords and you touch them together, and you can see the shock seems to go from the one sword to the other because it breaks off almost immediately. The shock seems to go from the one sword to the other one. It seems to currently be inside the short sword.
Damn.
That's quite fascinating.
Maybe we do not wish to disable that trap then.
Do me a favor. Roll a, I suppose, spellcraft check.
I can roll a spellcraft check.
Of course. Go ahead.
Good. Let's see if you roll better than me, because that was actually a really good roll. Nope.
Okay.
It was actually a very bad roll.
What do you
It's a
have as your
9.
plus? Oh, you have a 9 as well.
So
No. You have a +9. I have a 9 rolled with a +7.
Oh, okay.
So you Rayron obviously can tell that the charge seems to jump from one sword to the other. Like that's obvious to him. What you're able to figure out, Val, is that the charge that's in the sword is just that, a charge. The first time it's released into something, it's released. It's gone. So it's not like it's some permanent effect that's always going to be there forevermore. But it certainly has this welling up, vibrating charge sitting inside of it that can be released into something.
I will relay that information, and once again say that we may not wish to disable that trap. It may be quite useful at repairing our weaponry.
Would be rather useful to take it with us there.
Interesting.
One of the things that you know is that again, SIL technology is a little unique. It's one of those things where it probably, unless you guys could re-engineer it, probably requires being connected to that door, which is connected to other things to make it function. So transporting it without an understanding of the technology, you're probably just gonna end up breaking it. But that doesn't mean that if you ever come across, ever go to their country, Silencio, you might be able to actually purchase something that does this on the small scale and bring it with you. So.
And I would relay that. And then, so it is something we can use while we are here, at least. Although I imagine it has to recharge.
Yes, well, you may maintain your small-minded outlook, but if it's capable of doing this, then there's no reason to not take it with us.
I will assist in any way I can.
I mean, presumably it's a battery block of some.
It's a decent size pack. You know what I mean? But there's like the mechanics that go about like recharging it because it has like it maintains a small amount of charge to keep like spinning the generators that generate more and more and more and more charge. Because again, they use elemental power. So you imagine there's some sort of elemental energy locked away inside there.
It may, yeah, that's a good point. The area maybe also have that energy charged because of the tree itself.
You think that a tree that doesn't like sunlight is charging this with lightning?
There
A
would be.
tree that can fill this entire region with a forest that it shouldn't grow can probably do that, yes.
Well, I've yet to see a tree generate lightning.
That's not quite what I meant, but close enough, I guess.
No, I fear this is another situation where your lack of a proper education on magic has failed you. You see, trees are a different form of energy to lightning. He smiles at you at that point.
I'm just glad gonna leave it. And I guess he would turn to the old man again. Just thank you for your help. We will attempt to, at least, if we cannot break this curse this time, we will learn how to break it for when we come back.
I certainly hope that you're able to break the curse, so one day things can flourish again.
As do I. Thank you. And I'll once again go in for the arm grabber of respect thing.
Yep. And it works. Again, it's that same kind of almost sandy feel, but yep.
Okay, shall we finish exploring this floor?
It seems to me that the best plan would be to head straight for this tree.
That's true.
We only managed to survive the last night's onslaught by the skin of our teeth. And if this tree is capable of generating a huge forest like this, a few twigs like that should be mere child's play. Therefore, we should expect to face a fully regenerated army again
Yes,
this night.
I think you're correct. I would also suggest that ever since we've come back in this castle, the darkness has had a sort of, I don't know how to describe it, an ominous feeling. I suspect that if the tree has any sort of magic to it, or the curse at least, has any sort of magic to it that allows it to have any semblance of intelligence, it knows we're coming.
In which case, I fear that the attempt to set up mirrors would simply fail. And if we did manage it for even one day or half a day, a tree of that size might not necessarily be felled by that magic. And then
That's
overnight, whatever mirrors we had would be contested.
We should, one thing that would be advisable is getting torches, I think.
Maybe you could fireball the tree.
I mean, that is a possibility, but if we do that, we've lost that spell forever. Or at least until we find another scroll.
That's a lot of damage, though. It's a 5d6 fireball. That's
But if we do not kill the tree, then potentially we'll lose our lives.
I did not say not to do it. I just say maybe we can try some other things first, or if it looks like it's a dire situation, then I will leave that to your discretion.
I really would favor that plan, if I'm honest. In warfare, you should hit hard and fast.
It's not like we. I'm sure you could purchase one of these from a major city or something like that anyway at a later date.
I don't know about that.
It's a powerful spell, yes, but this is powerful magic that we are taking on. We cannot.
I agree. This is not me saying not to use it. Just remember that the curse will regenerate within a month. So what we are doing will stop this curse for a month here, unless we stop 5 of them within that month.
In that case, we should leave.
I don't think leaving here easily, getting back without our friend here would be extremely difficult. We have been lucky.
Yes.
We have flown here. If we tried to come on, there's like a pause where he realizes what he said out loud. Just, if we tried to come here another way, we may have been snatched up.
I can only hear some of the conversation that's happening. But if I understand what it is that you're discussing amongst yourselves, I believe you already had a plan of battering down a few of the curses, bringing them to a shadow of what they were, and then returning in the future to finish them off, so you could do the same time path. I believe that is what your plan was before.
Yes, my bad. I have dirt. So yes, I am all for the fireball. It just means really a smaller tree next time, if we wish to do that. Let's. Shall we go down and assess the situation then? Make up a more informed decision.
Yes, I suppose that would be a good idea.
Okay.
Yep. Now comes the fun part.
Let me just go.
Do we have any torches to light?
Nope. No torches on me.
I have candles. Oh, none of us have torches? How does an adventuring party have no one with torches?
Because we're not an adventuring party, we're an ex-slaver, a religious zealot, and a sightseer.
Fair. Well, luckily enough, I have... No, I do have 3 candles because I used 2 of them. So I've got
You
3
get
candles.
off my sheet, young man. I see what you're doing there.
I did nothing.
I have 3 candles, so we can each have a candle.
So that's what you guys have. No torches, just candles. Luckily for you, you do have lots
I do
of.
have a tinder rig.
You do have lots of the little things that you just killed. Lots of their corpses about.
That's good. And I do have the tinder rig to help initiate fire.
Card actually does make a valid point that there's probably torches in sconces somewhere.
Those are long since soggy and ruined. I mean, this is old.
Can
Even in this room.
we make a torch out
Which
of
is better
bodies of
preserved,
bodies
yeah.
that are around?
The room's better preserved, but remember, even in this room, the furniture all rotted. It's just that the stone, the place doesn't feel as aged as the others. You know what I mean? So, you could get supplies. You're in a goddamn forest. You just go cut down a branch or find dead wood so it's nice and dry or whatever. Like you're fine there. What were you saying, Tesh?
Oh, we'll make torches and
Yeah.
out of various things. So yeah.
Yeah, not a problem there. Perfect. So you guys are going to spend some time getting together the torches and supplies that you need. Can you actually do me a favor? Roll me a survival check for that, because you're going about and finding the stuff that you need.
Do we help one person in particular that's totally not named one to help make this survival
Let's
check
help
work?
that one person.
You guys give him a +2 on his check.
Yay!
I guidance myself.
Good. Well done.
Jesus, where are the branches? So it's a 24 then?
Yeah.
Okay. So with your 24 check, you are walking about and finding up all the best dead wood that you could find, breaking it, even using a dagger to cut it up a little bit. You guys have a little bit of lamp oil or something like that on yourselves, I imagine. So you take that and you get yourself torches all set up, and not just like 3 torches. You got to prepare yourselves each like 4 or 5 torches, whatever. You know what I mean? They weigh a pound each, so I imagine that's more than Val can carry in a month. But you guys are able to easily get the stuff together. It takes only about an hour or 2 to do it, and that's like while also like having a snack and kind of like we're talking about the plan and so on. So about an hour later, you get all the stuff together. The sun's still very high in the sky. You know, it's actually reaching noon soon. You know what I mean? The only part of the keep you haven't examined yet is the basement, but obviously you're trying to be safe.
Yep. I guess we go up to where we know we know where the entrance is. We saw he said he'd explored the thing except for the basement, and then he went up.
So we can presume to find more of these small twig-like creatures down there guarding their parent tree.
I imagine so. For the smaller ones, it might actually be rather useful to have these, because my dagger did not seem to do anything to them.
They seem less active during the day. Perhaps we could attempt to sneak our way down, even with the torches. If we're able to get a decent view, and we might be able to wreak havoc on a few of them alongside the large tree when we lose the fight.
I do not believe it is that they are not active during the day. It's just that the sunlight, I believe, hurts them. There was a room we saw last time, yesterday, where there was sunlight coming across the middle of them. They were on the other side of the sunlight, waiting.
Yes, but that was in the evening. They would have no reason to venture from the room during the day, or they were swarming in all the dark places of the fort.
I guess that's just true. Well, we will find out one way or another, I think. The issue is, can we light these torches quickly if we have to? That takes, in other words, time. Is that what you're saying?
You could set up like a little bonfire on the first floor if you wanted to, so you can just kind of run in and set up that way, or whatever you'd like. Like a little feeding station. Whatever you want to do.
Not a bad idea.
I don't know. Screw it. Let's just go down there. Let's just charge him. Fireball him.
Okay.
If we're not gonna sneak, then we should
Let's
just
go with
we should
torches
just
away.
we should just.
So is everybody just gonna walk down the stairs? I wasn't sure if you're doing scouting first, or if somebody was, if you guys are just going down.
Do you want to try and? Oh, you can't see. The only one of us that can see down there. I don't know how stealthy you are. One.
Not very.
Well, luckily for you, being invisible gives you a +20 to stealth checks.
Oh, that's an idea.
1. So even if you roll a 1-1, what is your stealth?
Should we use this now?
My stealth is a
-7.
-2.
Ah! So even if you roll a 1, you still have an 18.
And that's
Do we want to use that
19.
invisibility potion now, though?
I mean, this would be pretty good information, yes. What do you think?
I would agree that attempting to find out what we're going to be walking into is a wise decision.
I will then hand the potion of invisibility over. Scratch that off the list.
Alright, well, we should head down to wherever the basement door is.
I think what Steve was suggesting was that you take that bowl that you guys made and hid underneath beforehand, and you offer it to the creature as a hat. And they're like, oh, thank you. Thanks for the hat. And then you hit it with a flaming arrow, and the whole thing goes up in fire. It's your birthday.
I don't think that's going to work.
That was also a very loose interpretation of what Steve was actually saying.
Very loose.
I do agree with them making a bonfire outside the basement door, though.
I think that's a good idea. We can even just, as you said, use the net we made.
So, are you
Strongly.
drinking the invisibility potion 1 or no?
Not right now. But
Okay.
when we get down there, yeah.
Okay, cool. So who's leading the walk down? Or are you all walking down with torches lit?
Oh, no. I think if we're going to go down now, then that's the time you drink it and we stay up here.
I feel like
So-
leaving one entirely unsupported down there would be a bad decision.
There might be traps on the way down too. So
I would agree. I mean, we would stay ready to jump in if we hear anything, but if we go down, we might ruin his stealth entirely.
We're not heading down into the basement, just to the basement door.
I thought that's where we were.
Yeah.
Still,
This
I
is
think we're still on the first floor.
still the first floor, but he's talking about Tesha's saying if we're going to do any scouting, it should be one person by themselves going downstairs, finding everything they can, then coming back. And I think what you guys are saying is, why don't we just all go together just in case?
See, you know what? It's getting me confused here. Your stupid first floor stuff. First floor is ground floor.
No,
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah. First floor is ground floor.
No, it's not. First floor is one floor above the
See,
ground.
that's what's...
No, that's the second floor.
It's not.
Yeah.
No, I believe Tesh being not in England, you and I use the same vernacular in this one because Ollie got so confused about this before on a different campaign, and he's like,
Well, I mean, I worked out that you guys were talking about the first floor. I just used it then. Just reverse engineer it, guys. Come on.
so no, well, you're the odd duck here. You know what I mean?
Anyway, so we're on the ground floor, and we're near the basement door. Is what I was saying.
Is that correct, Scott?
You are on the ground floor. At the basement door, deciding who's going downstairs. Everybody with torches lit and
then
pitchforks.
Yeah, then just he goes down.
There we go. There we go. Okay.
Okay, I'd also like to use the paths without a trace thing as well, just in case there is some other way of
Okay.
tracking me.
So you can't smell me or see me, you mother.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, so
Yeah.
knock that off as well.
Do you have some silence as well? Do you want to go full ghost?
If I had it.
All
Do
right.
you want to hide from animals? no.
I'm pretty
So-
sure there's a hide from plants. as
There
well,
is.
isn't there?
I don't think you guys have one, but if you did, it's more powerful than what you're currently doing. Check your inventory and see if you have a hide from plants. I don't think you do.
I
We have a
don't.
hide from animals, not hide from plants.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay. Hey, you're welcome. So you quaff both those potions, so make sure you delete them from the character sheets. The invisibility and the pass without trace. I think you
And
just
then-
got those.
Yeah, I hadn't put them in. I've got a list of them ready to divvy out between people, but I haven't put them anywhere yet.
I feel like before I drink them, though, I'm definitely going to like sift around the door and stuff like that.
Sure, of course, go right ahead.
Good idea, yeah.
Seems fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Val, would you like to open the door for me? So you open up the door. The door actually is fine, and there's the stairs leading down to the basement. You know, they would give you kind of like a look of encouragement if they could see you, so you don't get one.
What happens is Val gives the thumbs up looking to your left.
So you start making your way down the stairs. As you're walking down the stairs, Kithel, sensing the tenseness in the air, almost as like a nervous reflex, will reach over and touch Val. You heal 6 health points.
Hey, thank you.
He'll then look over to what's your face there, Neil, and say, "Did you need some assistance as well?"
Perhaps if I sustain further wounds, but I think I should be fine for now.
He nods, and with that nod, why don't we take our break so I can go get coffee?
I'm gonna go get a cup of tea.
I'm gonna drink coffee like a real adult. So we'll see everybody in just a couple of minutes. Go pee, poo, do what you gotta do, and be right back.